like and subscribe. And now let's get straight to it. World War III is over. The proof of that is Ukraine. Russia has wiped Ukraine out. If you want to make some money, wait for them to sign the peace agreement, go to Ukraine and start a junkyard. There is a lot of scrap metal there, and you can thank the United States and NATO for all the scrap metal. The United States is so far behind Russia technologically, it's ridiculous. NATO, to be perfectly honest with you, was totally dependent on the United States to defend Europe. Why? The United States not only feared Russia, China, and other countries, it didn't want the EU to get too strong to where it would be a challenge to the United States. That's the way the United States work. That's the way corporations work. Understand that the United States military is a corporate capitalist organization. The United States military is ran the way Boeing does business. It's ran the way Boeing does business. Understand this. Russia's military is state-ran. It's state-ran, meaning it is not ran for profit. It's not ran for profit. It doesn't worry about cost. It worries about effectiveness. It worries about effectiveness. Russia's military has proven to be more effective than the United States military. And when it comes down to technology and equipment, Russia's military equipment is far more advanced than the United States equipment, especially the Abrams tank. They have been destroying the Abrams tanks with their tanks. Let me explain to you how a corporation works. A corporation does not want to improve on a product. It wants to sell, it wants products that will not last but for a certain period of time so that they can be replaced. Corporations make money by replacement. If we all understand, going back to the 80s, you could buy an American car. It only lasted you 3 to 4 years before you would have to, by the time it's paid off, you've got to start repairing it. In fact, the cars were so bad to where the average person became a mechanic because the cars would break down so often to where the average person learned to put on brakes, change rotors, put in radiators, put in alternators. We learned that just in the backyard because the cars would break down so often. Then came along, for those of you who are baby boomers should know, that then all of a sudden, Japan got into it, or whoever the country was, I don't know if it was Japan or China, with the Toyotas and the Hondas. Asians didn't know that the cars were supposed to break down after 3 or 4 years. After the cars got 50 or 60,000 miles, they were going to be garbage. Asians didn't know they were supposed to do that. They were building cars that can go 200,000 miles. And everybody started buying these cars. And then all of a sudden, the car companies started talking about, you're buying these cars and you're taking us out of business. And I think the cliche was, you can't eat the car. You can't eat the car, as the same buying these cars is hurting the economy. That was the way they thought. That was foolish. So what did the United States have to do? They had to improve the product. Now, parallel this with the military. Russia, who is not involved in a war every single year to sell their munitions, instead stockpile their munitions, and then they figure out a way to improve on those munitions. Improve them. That's what they did. The United States wanted to get rid of the stuff, use it up, and then make more stuff. So United States is always starting over again, where Russia and even Iran improving on those missiles, improving the technology, everything, learning from their mistakes out on the battlefield. The United States, on the other hand, sell and make more. Sell and make more. Get the money from the government and make more. You see, a capitalist corporate military, their main concern is profit. Profit. Russia's main concern is effectiveness, winning wars. Corporations looked at the oceans as defense. You can't get me, I'm too far away. I don't have to fight you. If I have to, all I have to do is put sanctions on you and limit your ability to improve your military. But the reality of the situation is it doesn't cost as much to improve what you have. It costs more to make more, starting from scratch. Also, Reagan removed the incentive for people to join the military by cutting back the benefits. He cut back the benefits for veterans, which was also an incentive to join the military. College education, home loans, things of this nature. He definitely, I don't know what all he cut, but I know he cut the VA loans for college to where you had to put some of your money in. That is corporate thinking. Corporations, for corporations, people are a cost. So they want to cut back on cost. Corporations are after profit maximization, and anything they can do to cut costs, they're going to do, especially if they feel that it's going to increase profits. So what I'm telling you is that what happened in Ukraine is going to happen in Israel, and it's going to happen in Africa, and it is happening now. Now, what the United States wanted to do was to bankrupt Russia, which makes no sense. If you are $34 trillion in debt, you are not going to bankrupt anybody that you owe money to. America's credit is about as good as Donald Trump's credit. America talks about being the richest country in the world. Donald Trump talks about being the richest person in the world. There's a parallel there. And there is a parallel between the way Boeing does. There's a parallel between Boeing and the way the United States military is ran. To shoot down a $2,000 drone, you have to use a $2 million missile. Do you know how many drones and guided missiles they have in comparison to $2 million missiles to shoot them down? It is not cost effective. Not cost effective at all. Especially when you think about the way corporations do business. You have most of the money is going to administrative costs and whatever they can think about. Whereas state-run agencies, that money is going to make missiles, make tanks, make whatever you need. Russia isn't wasting money on their military. It's not how much money you make, it's how you spend your money. It's not how much money you make, it's how you spend your money. How much money has been given to Ukraine for military purposes that has been spent on administrative costs and shipping? You see, corporations, if they can sell you less and make more, that's what they're going to do. So we may have this gigantic military budget, but how much of that money is actually going into increasing the technology? How much money is going into increasing the technology? How much money is going into improving our missile systems? How much money is going into studying the battlefield? How much money is going into just the overall education of war in conjunction with technology? You see, we see that in Israel with guys coming out of the tunnel with double-headed warheads being fired from bazookas over the shoulder, and these warheads don't cost nothing, but they have been improved. The missiles coming out of these bazookas have been improved to have double warheads on them. So the tank can stop the first warhead, but the second one gets through. And they only cost $2,000. And those tanks are $5 and $6 million. The war of attrition the United States is losing because we're spending too much money. We're talking about, and the Abrams tank is garbage compared to the Russian tanks. I mean, and the United States and Russia, even while the battle is going on, while the war is going on, Russia is studying everything that's being done, and they are improving on the improvements. Russia is playing chess against itself, and the United States is playing checkers against Russia. Ukraine is losing men like crazy. They are taking guys that were sitting on the couch watching TV, and they're not even training them and putting them on the front lines. That's how desperate they are for soldiers. French mercenaries even these mercenaries are leaving because it's a losing battle. The same thing, and the United States is supplying, and NATO is supplying Ukraine. Well, they're the same people that's going to be supplying Israel. And Israel's surrounded. Iranian technology is further advanced than Israel. Israel is just a welfare country dependent upon the United States, who is in debt. Eventually, the United States got to get out of this. We've got to get out of this and try to save. First, we got to figure out a way to get out of Ukraine to save face. So we're going to have to blame Zelensky some kind of way for losing it to save face. Propaganda is our thing. Then we're going to have to get out of Israel to save face. Because they're losing. They're surrounded. Hamas, they can't get rid of Hamas. They got Hezbollah in the north, who they can't beat. Then they got the Houthis in the Red Sea. They can't beat them. Then they got Yemen and all these other countries that can supply help to Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. They're surrounded. And countries that were enemies are now friends because of what Israel has done during Ramadan. They have united Muslims against them. All they're doing is killing children and raping women and then playing with the women's underwear. And I know this because they're filming it. They're filming it. Nothing, my point is, nothing is going to change from the Ukraine to Israel to Africa. Nothing's going to change. And Africa, you definitely don't want to mess with Africa because the Sahel region has the support of Russia. If we couldn't beat Russia in the Ukraine, all of NATO, you're not going to beat them in Africa. And Africa has already, and Niger has told the United States, take your troops and get out. Take your troops and get out. The only thing France is doing is selling wolf tickets. That's all. NATO is done. It's just a matter of time. So there's no reason to just keep talking about this as if something's going to change. The ending is inevitable. It is inevitable that Russia and China is going to push the United States and the EU out. They're going to push them out. And they are stupid to think that that these countries who they have colonized, enslaved, abused, are going to trust them. They're just waiting it out, and they know, all these countries in Africa knows that within a year, within 2025, the EU and America will not have any troops in Africa. The puppet masters will realize we don't have to be puppets anymore. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later. And by the way, the United States is going into a recession, so I'm going to tell you now. You better start stocking up on food. I already told you that now. I can't see it any other way. I say stock up on food, and I think and the truth of the matter is we're in a recession now. When you look at the prices of food and you see the gas is going up, hey, don't say I didn't tell you. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.